Absolutely. So yeah, we've got a lot to get into because we're going to, like we do every year, breakdown of each individual player that was named to the roster, and then give our standings for the division. So without much further ado, you want to get right into it? Player number
Yeah,
one here.
yeah. So Mitch laid it out pretty good. And the reason we do this is one, it's fun to go through and give our predictions for every
Yeah.
player, but something we also like to do at the end of the year, we go back and see like what our expectations were, who overachieved or underachieved, and kind of go from there, who was right, who was wrong. It's fun. So if you want to play along at home, you can do that as well. We'll start with the forwards, kind of go through it. There's not really a huge rhyme or reason to the order in which these guys are listed out, but we go forwards, defensemen, goalies. We'll do standings predictions and kind of final predictions and thoughts here. But Anthony Duclair is first up on the list. How many games is the Duke playing? I think we got to start there, Mitch.
I put 60. So a lot of these obviously are going to be pretty round numbers. We're not 81 and a half games. Like it's not going to be anything very specific, obviously, because we're rounding here. I'm at 60. We're still not 100% sure if he's 100%. He might be. He looked fine, but you never know. And there's so much depth on this roster that I just don't predict him playing a full season. So I've got him at 60 games. What about you? Where are you at in terms of games played?
I have him at 70, so a little bit more, but I don't think he plays a full season. And when I was going through and giving my predictions, Mitch,
Yeah.
it was I had a few guys where I was like, I don't know what I'm going to predict for them. And Duclair was one of those guys for me.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is because I don't know where he's going to play in the lineup. And there's a lot of guys like that on this team. Assuming he's going to start on the fourth line with Cizikas and Siplikov, that could obviously change very quickly. But I landed on 15 goals, 17 assists, and 32 points for Anthony Duclair this year.
Okay. Yes. I did a lot of rounding for a lot of players. Some players not because, anyways, I had a better idea. But I'm assuming he's relatively healthy, and we see a regular Anthony Duclair season at 10 goals, 20 assists for 30 points. And
Okay.
maybe someone have it flipped where he scores 20 goals and adds 10 assists. But it's really going to be dependent on who he plays with. And so I'm sitting at 10 and 20 for 30 type of thing at the end of the year, which, half point per game. You'll sign up for that, Duke.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, half point for you because you have him in 60 games. You would absolutely would sign up for that. And the reason why and part of the reason why I think went a little bit lower on what his career average is one, don't know what he's going to be like coming off the injury. And number two, he's starting on the fourth line. And I know it's not, Martin Cizikas Clutterbuck's fourth line, but he's not playing with Barzal. He's not playing with Horvat. That can, as we mentioned, that could obviously change. But I went a little bit more conservative, I think, with Anthony Duclair on my predictions.
Yeah. And like now that I say it out loud, this is what happens whenever you do a prediction. Like you think of something, you put it down, then you speak it, and you're going, you start poking your own holes in your own thing. And I think we're going to go through this throughout this entire thing, at least myself, anyways, because I have very little confidence in anything that ever comes out of my mouth. Is you're going, well, if I don't predict him to play 60 games because there's depth on the roster, why would you take out a half point per game player out of the roster? That's where I'm kind of like, I can understand anyone who pokes holes on that. Like, well, why would you take out a half point per game player?
Maybe it's
injury.
injury.
I think it's like injury, but like ebbs and flows. We've seen it, right? Like plays really well, kind of falls off. Well, we haven't seen it. We've seen it when other teams, when he's played for them.
On the 65 other teams he's played on in the league.
Yeah, every other team times two. Very Bo-like player is effectively what I'm predicting from him. When he's in and outstanding, but when he's not, it really doesn't, like Patty said, doesn't even belong there type of thing.
Streaky. He's very streaky, and it probably averages out to somewhere in the middle, which I think, we're pretty close on our predictions. You have him at 30 points, I'm at 32 with a little bit more games played on my end, but I don't really know too many people who are going into the year with crazy high expectations that he's going to be a 25 goal guy and 50 plus point player this year.
No, I don't think so either. Of course, the possibilities there. He's got the tools in his locker, but it is unlikely. Hopefully, we are proved wrong. Duke, do it. Put the pie in our face, please.
Please. All right, Bo Horvat's up next. Bounce back year for Bo. Where do you stand on Bo Horvat?
I got 80 games played. Obviously, not a full because you never know type of thing. 33 goals, 40 assists, 73 points. What I wrote in my notes is returns to career average shooting percentage because he was a little bit lower this year. It was like 11.4, I believe, this past season, or it was 11.1 maybe, and his career average is 13.4, something
I'm
along
pulling it
those
up now.
lines.
He was 11.5 and his career average is 13.4.
Right. And so if you put him at a 13.4 career shooting percentage with last year's numbers, he's at a 33, 30, I think a 30 goal pace. He wasn't far off of it though to begin with. I think he scored like 25 or something.
28.
28. Sorry, I get him and Lee confused. Lee had 25 and he had 28, something like that. I think he's going to have a pretty good year, and I think he's going to get a lot of shots with Barzy. I know we're not seeing them together right now. I just can't see that continuing long term.
Oh, okay. That's in a way hot take. It is, but it isn't, because it isn't because we've seen it and it's worked well together, but it is because they're not starting the year together.
Yeah, I that's where I'm at. I just don't see going to give him 10 games maybe, and it's just going to be like, we can't do this anymore. We have to have them together. But because we know the Islanders are not inept, but like lack offense. So I can't see them doing it for too long. But that's mine. What about you? What's your Bo Horvat situation?
So I had him playing a full season, 82 games, 71 points, 31 goals, 40 assists.
Okay. All right. We're not far at all. Let's go.
Not far off, but he gets over 30 goals again. And not to play spoiler here because there's a lot of names left, but I think he'll lead the team in goals this year.
Yeah. I want to find the person who says that it's definitely not going to be Bo Horvat leading the team in goals. I want to find that person. I want to sit down with them and pick their brain because I want to understand the level of Delulu they're sitting in.
Why are you the way that you are?
Yeah. And I've tried to do it. Doesn't mean I'm going to crack the code. Like, I'm friends with Spiz. I have not cracked the code in terms of the way he is. Love him to death, but
medical professionals can't.
Love him to death, but it's going to be the same thing for anyone who thinks that Bo Horvat is not going to lead the team in terms of goals this year. That seems like a lock.
I would think so.
Yeah.
I want to see if you're going to do it. Matthew Barzal, are you predicting it for the 5th year in a row?
No, I'm not. For those wondering, it's every year. I'm like, this is going to be his 30 goal season. I don't think so. I think he's going to be asked to do a lot more and play setup man for too many other people. I still got him at 25 goals playing a full season. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
But I've got him putting up a big year, 90 points, 25 goals, 65 assists, 90 points for Matthew Barzal. It's a vengeance tour almost. Not over anyone in specific, but just over the fact that he couldn't play most of the season last year.
Okay. I have him also playing a full season, 82 games, which I think that's honestly most important because he's missed a lot of time to the last 3 years. 82 games. I had him 23 goals, 57 assists for a flat 80 points.
Yeah. Point per game, Matthew Barzal.
Rough.
I think that's the floor. Maybe not the floor is obviously 60 points, but it would be wild to expect anything less than point per game from Matthew Barzal. Even though, he didn't really do that last year in the very limited sample sizes we saw.
Yeah, he didn't play. Again, he didn't play most of the year, unfortunately. So the last time he did play a full year, I believe it was 80 points in 80 games. So he was a perfect point per game guy. I think he's around that. I could see a world where it's closer to 90. 90 feels a touch optimistic for me. Not saying that he can't get there, but I don't feel comfortable with that as my official prediction. Can he do it? Yes. I'm going to go again a little bit more on the conservative side and say 80.
Yeah. Watch, this is the year that he actually does 30 goals because they need more shooters. Yeah. Oh, I agree. Please. But the one year I'm like, I'm going to back away from this. And he friggin' does it. God damn it.
That would make almost too much sense.
This stupid piece of crap. What a dick doing this to me all the time. Okay, next on the list, there we go, is Maxim Tsiplikov. Where you got Maxim at?
Okay, this was another tougher one for me. I have him at 80 games, 12 goals, 24 assists, 36 points.
Okay, I'm a little bit lower in terms of the points, but not by far. Like it's not super close, but it's not super far away. I have him at 75 games, and I think that identifies my kind of apprehension with what he's going to be this year. It's not to say that I don't believe he can be a top 6 player. I think he could very well be at least a middle 6 player. They don't have him there, right? They're starting him on the 4th line. He's got so many tools. If the conditioning is better this year, I think he could be better. I think I'm going to be wrong in terms of my prediction for Big Max here. I got him again, 75 games, 7 goals, 20 assists for 27 points on the year. It's not a lot. It's not a lot of production. I think that's just reflective of he's going to play 4th line minutes on a lineup that the 4th line is probably going to be all over the place.
Yeah, he was one of the guys that I had a harder time with because his role, and there's a few, Duclair, Siplikov. I thought Heineman was tough for me to predict, and Shabanov was tough for me to predict. Those were probably the 4 toughest for me. And that's about what he did last year. He had 10 goals, 35 points. I think, and like, I know it's essentially the same season, a couple more goals and 1 more point.
Yeah.
I think that could be fine from him, though. I think he settles in somewhere in the bottom 6. I could see him jumping up to the 3rd line. Maybe he goes up higher than that into the top 6. There's definitely talent there, but I think he ends up settling in as a bottom 6 guy. And if you have a bottom 6 guy giving you 35 to 40 points in a season, I think that's okay.
Oh, it's absolutely okay. And it justifies his payday as well. Obviously he would like more, and we would like to give him more if he could do more. There is the potential there. I think contextually we might see him bump up the lineup. You play a big, heavy team, you're going to need a big, heavy body up there, perhaps. And so maybe we see that, but he's going to have to earn it. And so we'll see if he does it this year. Again, potential is there, but I'm sure I'm going to be wrong, and I'm hoping to. Well, I'm hoping to be wrong by anyone here in terms of at least being positively wrong. I think this is the one where I'm like, I think I went too low on him.
Okay.
Jonathan Drouin. God damn it. It sounds so stupid for me to say that. It doesn't flow out of my dumb mouth that way.
Oh, that felt good to me. I liked when you said it all Americanized and bastardized. It was great.
It's for the YouTube crowd. That one is
7. I have him at 75 games, 13 goals, 32 assists for 45 points.
Okay. Yeah, we're not far off at all. I have him at 60 games. Because you can't predict he's going to play a full season.
He almost never does.
Right? So I've got him 60 games, 50 points. So it's not quite the hot take that I had at the beginning of the year where he's going to be he could very well be a point per game player, which I said with like the most lack of conviction possible. Is like the least, the hot take with the least amount of conviction behind it ever on the face of the earth.
That's not good for sports talk. You're supposed to come on and give your opinions and say that they are 100% factual and there's no nuance ever. I'm right all the time.
Yeah, there's a potential there that I just can't ignore. And so that's where I'm going here with the 50 points. It's probably a bit high. The 15 goals might be a bit high because he has not looked great, at least in terms of shooting through the preseason. I say he figures it out. It out. And 15 isn't, too far off from what he usually does.
No, he had the 1 year over 20 goals, but in other seasons where he played close to full season, he had 13, 18, 19. He had 11 and 43 and 37 points. So really productive, but in Colorado, a much different situation than what he's coming into here.
Yeah, it's going to be a Josh Bailey season, guys. That's what I'm envisioning.
That's what I tried to do with my prediction.
Yeah, so we're on the same wavelength, and I think that's going to be reflected through most of this year. But it's good to say, like, well, at least I'm not myself in Delulu land, like coming up with these crazy predictions for these players, because someone else independent of me, right? We did our lists independently, came up with relatively the same thing. Feels good.
Where are you at with Kyle Palmieri?
5. I've got him. I think it's a 30-goal pace is what I wrote, but can't play a full year. Mainly because we and I was going to say trade him, but I'm thinking of someone else here. Just doesn't play a full year. It's entirely possible he does. He did it last year, but a year older there. He's carrying more weight because of the beard. Okay. The beard isn't going to be that heavy, Mitch. Come on now.
Yeah. Now maybe that brings him back to life because he's got the beard.
Perhaps. I've got him 65 games. 20 goals, 23 assists for 43 points. So like 20 over 65 isn't quite 30, I think. 20 over 65 times 82
What's that
is
like?
25.
Oh, okay, 25.
Yeah, so I wrote 30 goal pace, but obviously my math isn't mathing here. I may have had the number higher earlier, but then as I looked at, because you did a good thing here, you have the totals for the number of goals.
I did that for a reason. Yeah.
Yeah, it made me kind of like, okay, I'm way too high here in terms of number of goals scored. I don't think that this offense could be that good. So I had to bump a few players down, he being one of them, obviously.
So for me with Palmieri, I have him at 74 games, so not a full
Okay.
season, but playing a little bit more than you had him.
Yeah.
I have him at 47 points, 21
Okay.
goals, 26 assists. I think the goal scoring comes down a touch. And he gets it, he's another year older. I would love to see him be a 25 plus goal guy. He's done that a few times for the Islanders. He's gone over 30, before too, which is awesome. I just think he comes slightly under goals wise.
Yeah. And I think that kind of speaks to us not almost, but kind of believing that Matthew Barzal and Bo Horvat may be reunited at some point, which would be a detriment to Kyle Palmieri, who is at this point slotted to play on Matthew Barzal's line. If Kyle Palmieri has a setup guy like Matthew Barzal, that could help him a lot. And if that works, that combination works, then maybe they don't have to put Bo and Barzy together. But it's something you have to juggle in terms of the math here.
Yeah, without a doubt. So we'll see there on Palmieri. How about Anders Lee? He had a good year last year. Does he replicate that, or does we see some of the regression?
I think we see some age regression, but he still plays well. I got him at 75 games, 20 goals, 25 assists, 45 points.
Okay.
So it's pretty classic Lee season in terms of like pace wise.
I have him at a full 82. Grinder, okay. Still doing it at 35.
There you go.
And a pretty standard Anders League season, 28 goals, 22 assists, 50 points.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's going to be a weird year for Lee, right? Contract year, 35 years old, as you mentioned. We may have said this before. I think because one of the patrons put in the comments, where are you at now in terms of Anders Lee staying versus leaving in any way, shape, or form, either not re-signed or traded?
I would say maybe like 30% he stays.
Yeah. Okay, that seems fair, right?
And then like maybe another 30% he walks and 40% he's traded.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
I think it's slightly less than 50% that he's traded.
Yeah, because you think about like the legacy of the player, what they're trying to do with the team, and of course you don't want to keep a guy who's 35 going on 36, but if he's still giving you, as you're mentioning, like 25, you had him at 25 or 28 goals?
28.
You can't just let 28 goals walk out the door
if you don't
with the baggage that he's got, like the positive baggage that he has.
Right, as your captain and your leader.
Exactly.
It's hard. I think it's that to me is a tougher conversation, and like I totally get it. This team needs to get younger. We've said it for a long time, and that kind of goes against the grain. Mm-hmm. But if you're getting Anders Lee on a cheap deal and he's still productive, I don't know. Maybe you think about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
not obviously not obviously at the 7 million, but if you get him at 2 years for 4 million a pop, maybe you think about it.
Yeah, you have to, man. Like, and it doesn't have to cost you a ton of money, and it's not going to. Like, he's at the end of his contract, he's at the end of his career, really, and he knows. Like, what am I going to do here, man? I'm going to hold him over a barrel for a buttload of money. You got your big payday, man.
He got $49 million contract. Like, he cashed in already.
Exactly. Now, of course, the salaries have gone up. So, like, what would have been maybe a $2 million deal is probably like a $4 million deal for 2 years. Like, it's not $8 million, dude. And you don't have to move your family at all. That's huge. Of course, like, I'm not moving costs or nothing in the NHL. The teams pay for that shit anyways. You don't have to uproot your life, which you've firmly established here on Long Island. Not here physically, but here you listening, probably.
Yeah, he's been here since, what was he, 2009 draft, 2008?
That's right. Yeah.
That's a long time ago, man.
Because we're going on almost 20 years since the draft.
Wild.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, so we got Lee. What about Peugeot?
Okay.
Yeah.
I think so. I'm going to give a prediction and then my stat prediction. I think JG Peugeot is traded. So I don't have a full,
What?
I know, shocking, right? I don't have a full year for him. I think he plays like, I don't know. I put 57 games for the Islanders,
Okay, yeah.
10 goals, 18 assists, 28 points. So 28 and 57, which I think is a pace of somewhere in the mid 40s. I'll do it right now.
Okay.
57 times 82 is exactly a 40-point pace.
Okay. So I'm a little bit higher in terms of what he paces out to, but that's because I gave him more games played for no particular reason whatsoever. Came to the same conclusion, obviously, that Jean-Gabriel Pajot is traded at the deadline. Not because we don't want him, just because he's valuable and we need to move on to do something different and he needs a shot at a cup. Um, I have him at 65 games. I couldn't do the math in terms of the number of
That's
games
about right.
exactly at the deadline. Some like, I don't know. It's probably going to be somewhere around that at the most.
Close. It's pretty close.
Yeah. So I have him at 10 goals, 25 assists, 35 points, which I believe paces out to 44 points. Yeah. I don't know why I didn't just add a column here and paste it out. I could just do that right now. It takes 2 seconds. What a dummy. Yeah, that's where I've got him now at 35 points. And like, if you've got him pacing out to 40, or in my case, 44 points, is he worth a first round pick at the trade deadline? In your mind?
I think yes. As crazy as that might sound, right? But people pay for depth all the time. A third line center who wins faceoffs, and if the Islanders are willing to retain money on that, is very valuable to a team that is making a push towards a playoff spot. Look at what the Islanders paid for him. And I get it. He was in his 20s, is a little bit different, right? But teams get desperate. What is the team? I don't know if Edmonton has their first round pick or not this year. But using a team like that, for example, Florida has a million injuries at center.
Mm-hmm.
I know they don't have a first round pick, but teams like that, they push their chips to the table.
Yeah.
We've seen worse players than JG Pajot get traded for first round picks. So
first plus, right? Like we're only asking just a first,
a singular first. Or if you want plus, then I would say it's probably a second plus. I don't think it would be a first plus, but if you're saying straight up 2026 first round pick, JG Pajot, no extra, no notes, no nothing else, I think there's a chance of that happening. Yes.
Would you take, instead of a first round pick, and we're assuming it's going to be a late first round pick here, would you take not a blue chip prospect, but a good prospect and a mid-round pick instead of a first rounder, or would you absolutely need that first rounder?
I'll take the first rounder, and I'll tell you why.
Okay, yeah.
Not necessarily for the draft. I know the Islanders had 3 first round picks this past year, and they drafted in all three spots. They took 3 players.
Yeah.
I think I'm trying to make some moves in the offseason, whether it's packaging the Colorado pick and what you get for Pajot and moving up in the draft, or trading for a young RFA. Who that is, I don't have the answer for you right now. We don't know who's going to be available, 9 months from now or whatever it is. But I would rather the first round pick. I think that's a more valuable asset. And I feel like I'm pretty comfortable with where the Islanders prospect situation is. I want NHL young, not 28-year-olds, but young NHL talent.
Yeah, I think the mystery of a first round pick is worth more. Not even just mystery. The giving the team the ability to get their own guy is worth more for us, right? In terms of, trading something than getting some guy who is okay or good. We don't need good prospects. We need blue chippers, and you're not going to get that for a Peugeot trade. A late round first, you can take that mystery and offload it for a lot more. So yeah, absolutely.
Maybe a right-hand shot defenseman to pair with our boy who we'll talk about in a little bit.
Yeah, that would be out friggin' standing because we don't have any right-hand unless Thomas Mahu, which I haven't watched at Providence just yet. Trades that guy. The chance of a 7th rounder being that guy are slim.
Yeah, that might be a little generous there.
Yeah.
Where are you at with Simon Holmstrom?
Oh, big year for homie. Big year.
Okay.
80 games, 25 goals, 55 points.
Oh, okay. I went a little bit more conservative on Holmstrom.
Okay.
I have 82 games, so full season, 22 goals, 46 points for him. And
Yeah, why? Go
I
ahead.
I was going to say, I think part of it is deployment. He's on the third
Yeah.
line now. It doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to stay on that third line. I know there's a lot of people predicting big years for Simon Holmstrom. I'm going to go on the pessimistic side for Holmie. I like Holmstrom. I think he absolutely has the potential for 55 points.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know if we're going to get every single one of our guys on this list to have that reach their potential. If they do, then I think we're looking at the Islanders as a 90+ point team and a playoff team. I don't think they are. So I say he slightly underwhelms what the elevated expectations are, but still for Holmstrom, who is what, 24?
Sounds right. 25? Didn't he turn 25 in May?
Is he 25 already? Oh, he was a 2019 draft pick. He might no, he's
No,
he
he
turned
was
24.
young.
Yeah, so a second straight 40-point season for him, around the same production what he did a year ago. I think that's a reasonable bet for him.
Fair. For me, it's that I'm going to blame Burns. I'll throw him under the bus here.
You're all in.
When you look at that consistent shooting percentage, you're like, he just needs more ice time. That's all he needs. You give him more ice time and you feed him the puck. If he's shooting at that rate consistently, why? And this team doesn't have enough goal scorers, as we're going to see later. There's not enough goals in this team. Never is. And so if you've got a guy who's just sitting there going, guys, I convert at nearly 20% every year, like, well, then get him the goddamn puck. Please find a way to just stay there, and I will bounce it off of you if I need to, because you convert that frequently. That needs to be done right now. I don't know why we wait on that.
Yeah, and that's fair. I just don't know if we see it actually happen, because there's some other veterans who I think will be in front of him. Like, I don't know if I see Lee, Palmieri, or Druin moving down, although Heineman, who we'll get to in a little bit, is slotted higher. Maybe you can make the case that Holmstrom should be there over Heineman, but we'll see.
Perhaps. So let's get to Casey Zizekas first after Simon Holmstrom here. Is
I don't
this the fall of CC?
A little bit. I think he plays 72 games. I have him at 17 points, 4 goals, 13 assists.
Okay, I've got him 60 games. So like you, not playing a full year. 7 goals, 10 assists for 15. Sorry, 7 goals. That is not how that works, Mitch. It was 5, 10 for 15, a pace of 21. And I say the fall of CZ has begun.
Yeah, I mean, he's 34 years old playing a very physical position. It's going to happen eventually. So wouldn't be the most shocking thing.
And we've just seen him through preseason not like kind of struggle. So I think the writing's on the wall here.
I tend to agree with you there.
And then I've got Kyle McLean. I wrote, we have new CC in Kyle McLean. He plays 20 games. I wrote, doesn't score a lot of goals. I got him with 2 goals, 4 assists, for a pace of 25 points over a full year.
I have him at 27 games, so a little bit more.
Yeah.
2 goals, 8 assists, 10 points for McLean.
Okay. So we're pretty close there. I think we found the new Casey Zizekas there. In terms of as a crash and bang fourth line center is where he slots.
Which pace, if the 27 game pace over a full season is around 30 points, which might be generous for a fourth line center, but I could see him taking over that role.
It at least shows that you have confidence in his upside, his productive upside, that he's not just the guy who's going to, battle, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that, but he can add some offense as well.
Yeah, it depends on who he's playing with. Like, he was playing with Siplikov and either Heineman or Duclair. Then he's probably going to rack up some assists, I would think, because they have a goal scoring touch.
Yeah, and they've got some talent there, so that makes sense. What about Mark Gatcomb? Where this is very 14th forward, right?
I had him at 35 games.
Wow,
was that more than what you were thinking?
Yes.
Okay, and
I have him at 10.
Okay, I think it's gonna be explained in a few guesses here, or in a few when we get to a few people. I think you have someone else playing significantly more games than I do, which I don't love, but I don't want to give too much away and spoil it.
Okay,
but,
I think I know where you're going.
9 points in 35 games.
Yeah, I've got him 3 points in 10 games. So a goal and 2 goals and 1 assist because he scores a little bit more than he provides assists on, which is still a pace of 25, but like the pace doesn't really matter right now. It's just like he just does stuff. For me, he's going to get game time because there's going to be some injuries, but not a ton.
Okay.
Because there's other guys in the lineup that could take that, like Mark Gacon being one, or sorry, Kyle McLean being one of them.
Right. And it depends on who gets hurt too. McLean can play center. Gacon can't really play center. He can play either wing, but he's not a center. Where McLean can play center or wing.
Correct. Heineman, what about him?
This is another tough one for me. I have him at a full 82. I think he finds a spot and is good. 15 goals, 15 assists, 30 points.
Okay, I'm a little bit higher in terms of production, and that's mainly reflected in terms of where he's slotted right now on the top line. They clearly like his speed. If that speed, and we know he can shoot, if that shot can translate into production, which I believe it can, I got him at 2020. So 40 points over a full 80 game season.
I think he eventually gets to a 20 goal guy. I don't think this is the year for it. I think he has one, like a positive, tangible step forward because he was 10 for 19 points last year, I believe. And the injury I know played a huge factor in that.
Yes.
I want to pull it up right now. He played 62 games, 10 goals, 8 assists, 18 points. So he has 12 more points, plays a full season, scores 5 more goals. And then when he reaches his mid-20s, I think that's when we could see him start to maybe be a 20-goal guy.
Fair. That's totally fair. I think it's going to be a little bit sooner, but you're absolutely right. It could very well be another year of just kind of getting the game speed kind of with him again.
Where are you at with Shabanov?
I don't really know, man. I wrote down, yeah, right, because we have no idea. We've never seen him at the NHL level. We can, postulate whatever we've seen from the KHL, but none of us know truly the 1-for-1 factor, and it's never applicable 1-for-1. I wrote down might be slow to show his true colors, which, he's not been dynamic through preseason, but there are flashes here and there. I have 70 games played because I don't know if they're going to have to sit him for a sec to just get him refocused or whatever. 10 goals. I just don't know if he's going to be a crazy goal scorer at the NHL level. 25 assists for 35 points, a pace of 41 type of thing.
Okay. I'm a little higher on Shabanov. Okay. Not much off a pace, but I have him playing more games. I think he plays 80 games, so essentially a full season. I have him at 16 goals, 30 assists, 46 points. Like Druin, I tried to find a Josh Bailey-like comparison. That's what I think his first year in the NHL is going to be.
It's just when if I remember correctly, his KHL numbers in terms of goals and assists were pretty healthy. Yeah, like 25 2 years ago, 23-44 last year. And this is in 63 games or 65 games, sorry. 18-13 3 years ago. Like he's a pretty even split. So I feel like I'm not being fair enough for him in terms of his goal scoring abilities. But I think because of he's going to take a little bit longer to adapt to the game, that is going to be something that's going to take longer to figure out.
Well, Siplikov scored 30 in his last year in the KHL and then only had 10 goals in the NHL. So
right.
Not always a 1-for-1 comp. No. So I wouldn't beat yourself too much up over that one.
No. Okay. Final forward. I think this is the guy you're hinting at earlier because it hasn't come up yet, is Cal Ritchie.
Yeah. I think he plays 39 games. And the reason for that is, unfortunately, after he is healthy, I think he goes to the AHL. And I want to see him in the NHL, but this is a prediction. This isn't what would Matt do. This is what I think is going to happen, what I think the Islanders are going to do. I don't think we start to see him as a regular in the lineup until after JG Pageau is traded. So this is kind of more second half of the season. But I think he does pretty well. I had him at 7 goals, 13 assists, 20 points in 39 games, essentially a half a point per game player.
I had him playing 60 games. I think once he comes back, he's right in. They clearly like what he's doing there, and they want to develop him. They want him to develop as quickly as humanly possible. And so they're going to give him that NHL time, I believe. But my production is lower than yours. The numbers are basically the same. I've got him at 6 goals, 15 assists for 21 points, a pace of 29 points over a full season. I just think that because he's still learning, doesn't mean that he's not going to score. It's just not going to be as crazy productive. It might take a little bit longer for his production to really shine at the NHL level, but that's totally fine. He's working on his full 200-foot game, and I think that's what we're going to see shine this year as he's learning the ropes.
I think that's our biggest difference so far is you think he's going to play more and the production might not be there right away. I think it's going to take him a little bit to play, but once he does, I think he hits his groove and proves that, like, he's a regular and going to be like the second line center next year kind of thing.
Totally fair. I think we're ending up at the same place. We're just taking different roads to get there.
Yeah. Interesting though. I like that. All right, let's do the defenseman. Alex Romanov up first.
I have him playing 70 games because he's probably going to get hurt at some point. 4 goals. He's not a big goal scorer. 26 assists for 30 points. A pace at 35, which is high for him. But if you look at this last 35 games played last year, he put up a pace of 30 plus points over a full season.
I like that.
Right? It got me because I remember at the end of the year going, like, he put up a lot of points and he scored quite a few goals. And I went and looked at it. Like, sure enough, he was over a 30-point player the last 35 games of the year. And that's a decent chunk of time, decent sample size. There we go.
I like that.
I
didn't go as optimistic, but I like that you're bullish on him because I also am a big Alex Romanov guy. I had him at 80, so mostly a full season, which on my part maybe a little too optimistic, but 28 points, 4 goals, 24 assists. So not crazy off production wise, but I have him playing closer to a full season and just under 30 points.
Right. That makes sense. Like standard Alex Romanov year, maybe even healthier, right? Type of thing.
Yeah, a healthier year. Yeah.
How about this guy, Matthew Shafir? I don't know. How do you pronounce that? I don't know.
I'm very excited to watch Matthew Schaefer play this year. I have him at 80 games. I think he plays essentially a full year.
Yeah.
8 goals, 36 assists, 44 points.
Okay. You have him as being more productive than but I fully well realize, and I even kind of wrote it in my notes, like, we have no idea what his output can be. Because he didn't play a lot last year, right? He played 17 games.
No, he's the biggest wild card.
Right. And he was 18 years old up until like a couple of weeks ago.
He was 17 years old up until a couple of weeks ago.
Sorry. Right. He's only 18 years old. Yes. So he doesn't have a lot of, like, he has one full not college. I was going to say one full season of juniors under his belt. We have no idea what this kid can do other than, like, we've seen flashes. We don't know what the ceiling is. I wrote 6 goals, 25 assists for a pace of 32 points over a full year. I haven't played 80 games as well, but, like, it could be totally different. He was on pace for 23 to 30 goals in his draft year. I don't know if he's going to get the ice time for that, but, like, he might as well get the ice time for that with what we're going to talk about afterwards.
You know what I think? Yeah. What I think is going to play a big factor in this. I know Tony DeAngelo's the power play defenseman on the first power play right now. I think Matthew Schaefer ends up being the power play defenseman by the end of the year, which that's when we start to see. It might be a slow burn. I think he starts slow, but hits his stride in the second half of the year.
It's hard to, I don't know. I think that first power play might have 2 defensemen on it.
I don't hate it.
Schaefer might be a defenseman, but he's really going to be a forward.
I don't hate
You just have a guy back there to stop, like, 2-on-1s or 2-on-0s type of thing.
Yeah. I'm okay with that.
Yeah. So, okay, we're different in terms of the production there, but I believe yours would be obviously the most optimal, but, like, could be likelier. Yeah. What about Pelech? Does he play a full concussion-free season?
I had him at 55 games.
Okay, yeah.
1 goal, 18 assists, 19 points.
Yeah, I'm not far off. 50 games played, 2 goals, 22 points. That's a bit high in terms of the pace of 36. So, like, maybe I could lower that a little bit. But the point here is that we don't expect the full season, and we don't expect Adam Pelech to be very productive this year.
No.
Like, not poorly productive, but, like, not like crazy productive.
Which is about his standard for production, but he's got to prove that he can play a full season again. I'm not going to come out here and predict it because we haven't seen it in a long time.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to revise my numbers here just to make the pace numbers work because I put that in just now for no particular reason. And so I put 2 goals, 10 assists. So that's a pace of 20 points over a full season. And that sounds
Okay.
right.
Yeah.
Ryan Pollock, what do you got him for?
I think he is mostly healthy this year, which is a big win. I have him at 78 games, 4 goals, 20 assists, 24 points.
Okay. I have him at 50 games played. I don't see him playing a full year because of injuries.
Okay.
4 goals, 12 assists, pace of 26 points.
Okay. I hope he stays healthy. I don't know if the Islanders can afford to lose Pelech and Pollock for that long this year.
I totally agree. Like Adam Boquist is great and all. Although Isaiah George he might be ready, man. So maybe this is his key. Maybe this is his Devontae's moment.
Yeah, it might end up being that. And I don't have him listed on here, but maybe we should have done that and put Isaiah George on there. But story for another day, I guess.
Yeah, he was sent to Bridgeport, so he's not on the roster, not part of the requirements that we set for ourselves.
How about Tony D?
See, I had a hard time here in terms of at least the games played. He's not played a full year ever, I believe. When I looked at his hockey reference page, you don't see a lot of like 80 games or whatnot.
No.
Right. So I had him playing 60 games, which is just like, I don't know. It could be higher, but I think maybe injuries factor in. Hopefully not. You don't want to see anyone get injured, but 6 goals, 26 assists for a pace of 44 points over a full year, which is a pretty standard Tony DeAngelo season, I think.
I would tend to agree with you. I'm doing my pace stats right now as I'm about to. Okay. I'm a little bit lower production wise for him. I have him at 55 games, 4 goals, 17 assists, 21 points. I have the points coming down a little bit because I don't think he's going to end up playing as much power play time. Like, I know he may start that, but I think that tails away. I also think he's traded. I think the Islanders trade him at the deadline.
Yeah, that's totally fair that he might get traded at the deadline because expiring deal, right?
Mhm.
Like, and there's going to be a market for it, as you keep saying. Like,
Everybody wants
moving defensemen. Yeah, you get 2nd round picks for 3rd pair defensemen some years. Like, he might still be a 3rd pair defenseman, but an offensive 3rd pair defenseman that might fetch you a little bit.
Yeah,
Maybe 2nd plus.
Yeah, it might be. Depth defenseman, another valuable thing. So I have Peugeot and DeAngelo as my 2 guys who are traded at the deadline, and both are assets that teams usually tend to look for. A 3rd line center who can win faceoffs and score some goals, and a defenseman who can play, can be one of your regulars, or a 7th defenseman for your team with offensive upside.
Absolutely. Okay, what about Scotty?
I don't know. And I kind of hate my prediction. I'm just going to be fully honest with you now.
Yeah.
77 games, 3 goals, 10 assists, 13 points.
Oh, that's kind of low. What was your thought there?
I think he's going to be the stay-at-home defenseman with Matthew Schaefer.
Yeah.
And I just don't know if we see a ton of points with that. He had 9 and 66 games last year. So I have him playing about 10 more games and adding only a couple more points. But I know what you're about to say. So I'll let you say it and then we can talk about it.
Yeah, I think he's going to get a lot of derivative points, like secondary. Yeah, just a bunch of noise. I have him on pace for 29 points, but I've only got him playing 65 games because he inevitably gets hurt because of the way he plays, which is fine. I want to say fine mainly because I don't like seeing anyone get hurt, obviously, but this is the natural result of the way he plays. Well, because he's playing with Schaefer, I think he's going to get some derivative points here. And so, like, I have him pacing out to 29, which is less than Schaefer because he's not always going to get on them. That number is probably going to even be a little bit lower. So we're looking at this point career year because I think his high is 24 points over his career.
Yeah, that would be a pace for a career high for him, which if he's with Schaefer and racking up some secondary assists, I could see it. I took the different angle on it. Like, he's not going to touch the puck a lot. He's going to clear the front of the net. Matthew Schaefer is going to be the one moving it up and down the ice. And there might not even be the opportunities for the secondaries for him.
I totally fair. There's one game we were watching through preseason, and at one point, Scotty's looking up and he's going to make an outlet pass. I was like, God damn it, where's Schaefer? Why aren't you giving it to Schaefer? And he makes the pass, and I thought it was icing. I swear to God, it was icing, but they didn't. They waved it off because apparently an Islander stick touched it, and I was like, that's an accident. That was pure accident. That should have been icing, and it would have been exactly what we thought the outcome would have been, because Mayfield is an icing machine. So you're right. He's probably not going to touch it outside of his own zone very much.
No. How about for the last one here?
Mm-hmm.
Adam Boquist.
I haven't played quite a few games because of the injuries. You might have him playing fewer because you don't have as many injuries, although you do have Tony DeAngelo getting traded.
So it might be similar. So go ahead.
Yeah. So I got 30 games played. Total points is 10. So pace of 27 over a full season. That might be a tad high. I just think he gets, again, a lot of derivative stuff, but he's a good player going up. Like he likes to pinch, and I think that'll favor the Islanders. That'll favor him in terms of production in the Islander system.
I have been playing 42 games, so roughly half the season, because Pelech misses time. DeAngelo gets traded. I don't have a lot of production for him, and I know normally he is more of an offensive defenseman, so it could be slightly oversight on my part, but also don't think this team's going to be top 10 in goals. So someone had to not score that much. So I'm at 1 goal, 8 assists for 9 points. So pace of essentially 18, which would be lower for him. He's someone who's scored. I think he had 1 year where he had 24 and 46.
Wow. That would be fantastic.
That's the most amount of games he's ever played in a season. Oh no, he had 22 and 52 the year before that.
Okay, still. So what's your goal total there? Mine's at 237.
Okay, so I'm higher than yours. I'm at 249, which I think they're roughly middle of the pack. 239's maybe closer to like 20th in the league, which would still be an improvement. I think the offense is actually okay this year. Like 16th in the league. Fairly average offensively.
Yeah. At one point, my numbers were up there. I was at like almost 250, and I'm going, that's too goddamn high for these. I don't believe that their offense can be that good. So I brought it down. So this is an artificial low. I think 237 is the floor for the Islanders, and the ceiling is what you've got. So I think we fall somewhere within that range here, ultimately. But I think that is perfect encapsulation of where we think the Islanders are going to be.
Right. I don't think they get over 250. Way, if they do, then that's maybe how they end up sneaking in and being a playoff team. But I don't have them as a playoff team. I think they're on the outside looking in. So they probably finish between 235 and 250. And I went a little bit more on the goal scoring side.
Yeah, if they're scoring 250s, because the entire NHL is scoring 300.
But also they just have more depth
they do.
Like scoring depth, I feel like this year.
Yeah, they are deeper offensively, so that might work out for them, perhaps. Who knows?
All right, let's talk goalies. Ilya Sorokin up first. For me, I have him playing 62 games.
Yeah.
I have him at a 29, 24, and 10 record, 916 save percentage, 264 goals against.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. I have him at a 915 save percentage and a 2.6. And now that I look at my record here, I'm a little bit high. So I'm going to, the numbers don't math there. I had 30, 25, and 5, but also playing 62 games. And I'm like, that's not 62, Mitch.
No.
So I got him 30, 25, and 3 is their overall record.
Okay.
So I think that brings him down to, 81 points. Sorry, spoiler. I'm doing the math over my head. But 815, 260 is a decent season for Sorokin, but I think that defense is so bad that they're going to let in some goals.
That's what I was going to say. So he's not back to 925 and 230 goals against. I think he still gives you a better season, but isn't like the elite top of the top. Still a above average year, right? 916 and 264 is better than where his numbers were the last 2 years, but I think they're going to give in some goals here. So I didn't want to go, he's going to go 920 guy again.
Yeah, hopefully, but I just don't think so with the defense they've got in front of them. The Schaefer's going to be out there making mistakes. That's totally fine. And then the other guys are going to be just hoping and prayer sometimes.
Yeah.
What about Big Save Dave? You got him as a Big Save Dave or not?
I think he struggles a little bit. I have him 20 games, so 7, 12, and 1. 902 save percentage, so just over 900, but a 297 goals against, almost 3 goals a game.
Yeah, so I kind of did the same 20 games, 8, 10, and 2. Of course, we don't know exactly how this split is going to work for goalies. We don't know what the Varley situation is. So 8, 10, and 2 for him, and save percentage 895 with a 301 goals against average. I wanted to emphasize the 01. It's not going to be at 3, maybe a little bit under. It's going to be more than 3 per game with the Big Save Dave.
Over 3. I could, unfortunately, I could see that.
Yeah.
So you kind of spoiled it. You have him at 81, so that's just under NHL 500, right? 80.
Yes.
Yeah, 82 would be NHL 500.
That's right.
I have them just above. I have them at 83 points, but we're in a very, very similar tier here.
So where does that slot them in the Metropolitan Division with 83 points for you? For me, they're 5th in the Metro.
Okay, I have them 6th. So I have Carolina in 1st at 104, New Jersey in 2nd at 101. I ended up going the Rangers in 3rd, but I don't love it, honestly. I think it's a coin flip between the Rangers and Caps. I don't really like either team, but I went Rangers 97, Caps 92, Blue Jackets 86, Islanders 83, Flyers 78 points, and Pittsburgh in last at 76.
So it's close for me as well. It's close to what I did. Carolina first, 105, New Jersey 102, Capitals 98, Rangers 95. So kind of like what you were seeing, coin toss between those two, whatever. Us at 81. And then I had the Flyers at 78 because I don't think they're going to be too far off from where we're at. It really depends on how good Matvei Michkov is. And then I really couldn't decipher between Pittsburgh and Columbus. I don't think the Columbus team we saw last year is going to be the Columbus team of this year. I really don't see it. I have them both at 70 points. Of course, it's not going to end up that way. It's just I don't know how much tanking Pittsburgh's honestly going to do.
Well, I had them a little bit higher than you. I had them at 76, which is still last, but I don't think, and that's maybe the problem with the Metro, I don't think any of the teams are like Chicago level where they're going to come in like 58 points. I think the bad teams, which in my mind is the Flyers and Penguins, and you're a little bit lower on Columbus than I am. I think they're going to be in like the mid to high 70s.
Okay. Yeah. So we'll see. That's our prediction, right? There was any final predictions you want to get out there?
My final note was just 83 points, sellers at the deadline. I would sign up for that in a second. I know that's not a playoff team. That's just a fairly average team. I think that's what they're going to be this year, average. Mm-hmm. But if they're about middle of the pack offensively and they put up 83 points this year, I think with some of the young guys taking another step and maybe some changes to the roster, I think in the following year, 26-27 is where they can maybe push for a playoff spot again.
Yeah, so I've got sellers for sure. Better year than we thought, worse year than we want. Still let up a ton of goals and don't score enough. I think it's the overall notes with my final prediction for the Islanders this year.
That's fair. I think they'll score more, but I think they'll give in more goals.
Makes sense.
Especially with Big Save Dave. I struggles, and you had that too.